How far would you go to make an impact in the world? This fall, 10 incredible entrepreneurs will visit our campus to tell their stories and share the steps they took to be catalysts for change. The 2021 Entrepreneur Leadership Series, the most valuable one-credit class you will ever take.
Really succeed, which is so awesome. And her and her husband are also the owners of the Jazz, where they work hard to run both of their business while they raise 5 kids. And all 5 of her kids are between 5 and 13 years old, and they all play basketball and dance. So we are so excited to hear and learn from Ashley today, so give it up for Ashley.
Okay, hi, thank you for being here. This is super exciting and fun. Over 20 years ago, I was in the lecture series at BYU. And then currently, I'm giving a little feedback. Any advice? Okay. Currently, my husband is kind of moderating a new lecture series at BYU. And I think you should have some pride because this is done very well here. And they do it well at BYU, but I think BYU has been beat at kind of yeah, right? And I can't believe I'm saying that. We are diehard Cougars, we really are. But this is beautiful how this series, and you know who they're bringing in. It's awesome. So have some Aggie pride. I am going to share our story today. And I hope maybe something resonates. One thing, who knows? We all learn differently and from different people, and my hope is that something will connect. I have moments in my head from the lecture series 20 years ago that I specifically remember from different people who came, so I hope something resonates. And if not, I hope something resonates next week or the next. But as a student myself always, I like to pull things from people. I like to kind of pillage information or ideas or new ways of thinking. And so that's what I would do if I were in here. And that's what I do all the time when I get the chance. So hopefully something resonates. But I'm going to tell our story kind of different than we're used to right now. In 2021, the way we tell stories is glamorous. We paint really pretty pictures of life and of productivity and organization, and I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to show you a really messy story because our story is super messy, and I actually would argue that everyone's story is messy because everything great that we have in our life has started messy. So this isn't a pretty picture that you're going to see, but hopefully, I mean, it's still messy. We continue to clean up messes in our life all the time and turn those messes into beauty, right? You've heard about how gems are created from friction, and that's what we're trying to do all the time, and create new gems in our life. So here we go with kind of a messy lens. I am really proud of a lot of things that we've done. And I'm really not proud of a lot of things that we've done. And I actually have a question. Who has something, think to yourselves of something you have a lot of pride about, something you're really proud of in your life. And in fact, I would love one or two, like something you're truly, deeply proud of. Is there anybody who wants to kind of give some help with the content here? Yeah? Okay, here we go. Very cool. Okay, so regional finalist for Computer Tech Sterling Scholar. Was that an easy path? Was it pretty? No. Yeah, like this clean, organized path that you could lay out for someone else? So if I were to just give you, let's say you hadn't gone down that messy path and I were to just give you the award of Sterling Scholar for Computer Tech, would you be proud of it? No, probably not. It was probably the grit and the friction and the messiness that gave you some pride. I like it. Any others? That's a really good one, because that's intimidating to me. Yes? Okay, that's incredible. National ranking in a robotics competition. So, same question. Was that an easy path? Yeah, and one thing I love about coding and things is the trial and error, right? So lots of opportunities for messes that you get to go clean up. That's a really good example. I think about my daughter this summer. She's 13, and we are new to the wake surfing world. And we are also not boaters. So she decided, after learning how to wake surf, that she wanted to get a 360. And if you know anything about wake surfing, there's a lot of cool tricks in between learning to wake surf and a 360, but she was set on jumping right to here. And we had a week at the lake, and she was dead set that she was going to get this 360. And it was a long week. It was a really long week. She, the flag, you're up and you're down and you're up and you're down. And I'm videoing every single time for a whole week, hoping that this is going to be the one she gets. And the other siblings are getting irritated and frustrated, and she was incredibly frustrated. And then, of course, the last day, as expected, she got her 360. But to see the pride that she had in that accomplishment and the messiness along the way, the face plants and water up the nose and frustration and siblings getting mad, and she was so proud. Mom, did you get the video? Send it to me. Can you send it to me? Because she wanted to watch it a million times. She wanted me to watch it a million times. She wanted her cousins to watch it. She had so much pride in that 360, and it was not pretty to get there. But then I was proud of my daughter, who went down a kind of messy path to do something that felt really hard to her. So I don't know, just a small example. So I'm going to kind of go through our story. Let's see. This is us, not messy. What do you think? This is the 2021, how we want, we throw out our perfect lives. And everyone's smiling, which is miraculous. It's actually a mess to get everyone to smile. So this is our childhood. This is Ryan and me. And I was born in Las Vegas. I was raised in Las Vegas. He was raised in Provo. And we both had equally very messy childhoods. We both have divorced parents, and they were not clean break divorces. They were very messy. And it's kind of cool that we had a similar experience, but both did not experience a ton of supervision. We had to figure out a lot on our own. Not a lot of guidance. We had awesome examples because all four of our parents are incredible humans. But going through that tough time during your childhood, it creates some gaps, right? So there were some gaps, and it was a mess. His childhood was a mess. My childhood was a mess. But what came from that mess? Well, I can confidently tell you that I'm scrappy, and I'm a problem solver, and I'm a hard worker. And I can confidently tell you those qualities because I worked through that mess, and those are the qualities that were built in the mess. So the friction of the gem, right, is that I'm super thankful for that friction because I'm scrappy. I can solve a problem. I work hard. I am confident in myself that I can get a task done, that I can get 100 tasks done, right? So out of the mess of this time of our lives came our greatest qualities, because Ryan equally has those same qualities and even a lot more, right? That came out of a messy childhood. Am I advocating for that scenario? No, but what I'm saying is I can look back at what was a mess and what felt really hard and like a lot of friction, and I can see the benefit and the gems. I'm going to grab a drink really quick. So we're going to move on. This is, we dated. We met at BYU. We dated for 5 years, which, how many are from Utah in here? Oh, wow. That's amazing. So that's a little above the average. And we attribute it to a lot of things. It was what we needed to do for us. And a lot of it had to do with that messy childhood. I think neither of us were necessarily sold on the institution of marriage. And I would argue it was kind of messy. It was a great time, but it was messy. There was, you guys know, when you're dating, there's insecurity and uncertainty, and that leads to disagreements. And it was hard. And it was a lot of, I'm not sure if I ever want to get married. If I do, it'll be to you. And it just led to a really hard 5 years. But the coolest thing ever is that our first year of marriage, and since, was rad. We started on this really strong footing because of the friction that we had to go through during that 5 years. And again, I'm not advocating a 5-year dating situation, but I'm saying I can look at that mess and a time of friction, and I see this beauty that came out of it. I see the strength that we were given because of it. Because marriage is messy, right? So here we are now. This is dating mess. This is marriage mess. Because marriage is hard. Oh my goodness. We are trying to blend preset notions that we have in our heads, right? Our first Christmas, I had a vision of what Christmas was. He had it, right? You've heard all this. And blending that together is not easy, especially when you have 4 separate parents to keep happy. So the first Christmas was not beautiful. Not going to call it pretty. And what our Christmas is now is beautiful. We have found our place. We leave town for Christmas. And it is beautiful for us and our children. And we look forward to it, and our children look forward to it. And Christmas is really simple. It looks very different than my Christmas looked growing up, and it looks very different than Ryan's Christmas looked. 2 gifts each, right? It's simple, and it's just our little nucleus. And we make sure to get our time in with our families and our parents before we leave, because that is important to us. But the mess that we had to deal with that first year wasn't worth it to us. So we found something that worked for us. We took the mess, and we created something beautiful. And so again, I'm advocating that you look for the messes and you embrace them and you find the beauty that they can create. I'm not advocating any of these individual scenarios for anyone, but I'm proud of my marriage. So I can say that. I can say that I have a lot of pride in the work that I've put in. And I know it will continue to be up and down and messy, but only beautiful things will come out of that. So it's a good thing. Well, that one got out of order. Messy, still messy, but some beauty too, right? Okay, this is a fun one because raising children is messy. So I'm just gonna show you some of these pictures. And P.S., this isn't the half of the mess. But we've got a head wound, some arm breakages, and she has broken that arm 3 times. So the mess and the parenting fails, maybe in the nutrition, who knows? Another one, another head wound. Just straight up sadness, if you can see there. This second to end one, that's the tooth fairy failing, which our tooth fairy is the worst tooth fairy of all time. She's horrible. No consistency. You cannot rely on her. And you can see my devastated child in that. And the last picture is a relatively new car and my daughter and her dance friend with hot pink lipstick all over their hands. So these are just a few examples of the mess that parenting is. It's a mess. It's not clean. And I fail every day. Every single day, I'm apologizing to my kids and asking for their forgiveness at some point. But they are what I'm most proud of, right? What I am most proud of are all those messes that create these humans who I adore, right? There will continue to be a lot of mess, and I know that. But it just makes me excited because we truly have learned to take moments of feeling out of control and messiness and find a way to create a gem and to have success out of those, what we may think of as failures at the time. So what I'm most proud of right here is the messiest thing in my life, for sure. And I'm showing you the easy stuff, right? I mean, stitches, it's easy. The hard stuff you can't show in a picture. But those messy moments create incredible relationships and build good humans. So let's keep going. This is my dance studio. So I was raised dancing at a studio that did not have a great environment. It was, and arguably the whole industry struggles to have a good environment. There's a lot of focus on body image in a negative way. There's a lot of focus on comparing ourselves to others, and that never ends well. And it's not a mentally healthy place in general, the dance world. But I loved it. It was such a safe place for me, the dance studio, to go communicate through art. And so I kind of wanted to go try and do it in a better way. That was the motivation I had. And my husband was on board, which is so lucky, right? And when I started, it was in my basement. So this first picture over here is in my basement of our first home. I didn't even have any children yet. And we turned our basement into, one studio. And that was my first show, my year-end show. So that was my entire class my first year. And it was awesome. But I did not know what I was doing. I had the knowledge and the credentials to teach ballet, but I had no idea what I was doing running a business. I had no idea what I was doing hiring employees or getting insurance or taking on the liability of someone getting injured. We lived in a cul-de-sac, and the parking was a nightmare, and the music was loud upstairs when class was going. It was messy, and it even caused some friction in my home at different moments. It wasn't pretty, but I fought through it, right? And I have almost 600 students today enrolled at the studio, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but what I am proud of is that I have somehow, with the help of a lot of awesome humans, I have built an environment where we are building and empowering mentally strong youth. And we are giving them an opportunity to communicate through art and to love themselves exactly as they are. And we are giving them tools to be empowered. And it's kind of awesome. And I love it. I walk in that building and I love it. So here I have my first basement. And then way over there, that bottom corner picture, is my second location. We moved there, and I had 2 studio rooms. And then I built on so that I had 3, and then I built on so that I had 4. And then just in the last year, we're now in this beautiful building here. So I wasn't ready for that. But the mess and the friction helped me get from that tiny basement to a beautiful building. That middle top picture is the employees at the first show. There were 2 of us. And talk about needing scrappy skills, right? You got to be scrappy if you're starting something from the bottom. You have no choice. Scrappiness is how we solve messes, right? And this is my staff. Well, it's not even all my staff, but it's a good chunk of my staff at my last show this spring. And I did not know how to get from that picture to that picture, by the way. It took messes. It took friction. It took bad hires. It took people quitting, painfully losing teachers. A lot of friction to get there. And that is a group of humans who all share my values that I see for this studio. And it's hard to do, and I'm actually still failing. But I know that the base of it is a group of individuals who share the values, these core values that we really push. And I've come to a spot where I kind of know how to hire that. I can try, I can give it my best effort, and I don't always succeed. But for the most part, I figured out how to do it through the friction, right? And then this last picture, this is an awesome story. So this was my first Nutcracker, which, by the way, was my first year as a studio. And the Nutcracker is the most famous ballet that exists. I was way out over my skis thinking I could pull off a Nutcracker. So I actually did it for 1 year, and then we took a break from Nutcracker for a while. But I want to talk to you about those pants that you see up here. So I also knew nothing about costuming. I really, truly only knew how to teach ballet. And I dove into something that required a lot more than that. So I was very cost conscious, and I needed to make those pants for really cheap, but I couldn't find any to buy for cheap. So I went to Joann's, and I got some fabric, and I got out my sewing machine, and I was confident in my sewing skills, sewed them right up, and I had these beautiful pants. Right in the middle of the show, pretty much all of those dancers, they all split. They all ripped. So by the end of the dance, I don't know what they're wearing. It's like a skirt with lots of slits happening. And it was a mess. It was a mess. And I also didn't really know how to run a show. So we had one show, which meant there was no opportunity for redemption. So that was it. We had our awesome number with our pants that have gone awry. And since then, I have become what I would say is almost an expert in costuming. And again, I feel confident calling myself an expert because I have fought through so much costume friction to get from that top picture to this bottom picture, which is the same character well, not last Christmas, but 2 Christmases ago. And beautiful costuming, right? But now I know everything there is to know about fabric and about sewing and about patterns and about colors that look good and about sizing and which companies have, right? I know it all now. But it was only through friction and failure that I feel really confident in my costuming. And I'm way thankful for that top picture. I laugh every time I see it. It makes me smile. But that night, I cried. I cried my eyes out that I had failed, right? So out of that mess has come a pretty cool talent that I love, that I have, that is kind of built. So let's hop to Qualtrics. Who's used Qualtrics? Yeah? So when I met my husband, he was working in an attic, which if you read the media, they say the basement. Well, the attic was before the basement. And it was just Ryan and his father. And he was like, come see where I work. And it was a mess. And I was very concerned about what he thought was a job. And he was convinced he could sell it. He was convinced he could sell it to universities. And that if he could get universities to use it for their research, that then the students would graduate and that they would take it to the companies they worked for. And I remember being like, wait, what? This is bonkers. Like this idea. And I mean, it beautifully played out over the next few years. But the point being, when I stepped into that attic, it was a mess. The whole thing was a mess. And I questioned what I was getting myself into. This is a picture from the basement, which is where the media will tell you it all started. But these days in the basement were not pretty either. There was lots of painful employees coming and going. There were lots of moments of, what are we doing? We're out over our skis. And his dad, who helped develop the product that he was selling, wasn't necessarily all for massive growth at a super fast pace. And Ryan kept saying, oh, we want to move out of the basement, Dad. We want to move out of the basement. And his dad was very hesitant, rightfully so. And it took him going on a Fulbright to Spain. And then Ryan, they bumped out of the basement, and that was it. And from there, his dad kind of sat back and watched what they say is a rocket ship kind of fuel. Yeah? It was messy, though, and it still is messy. And 6 to 7 years down the road, Ryan gets an offer to purchase Qualtrics for a really big number at the time. It felt like a really big number. And he came home and he was like, let's get in the car. And we drove, and we got in the car, and we just drove south. And we just kept driving while we talked about our options here. And I didn't feel great. He was 32, I was 29, and the thought of him selling and being done was terrifying, A. But B, it just wasn't sitting right. And I think there's something to say with following your feelings, but it wasn't clean. And in your head, it should have been clean, right? It should have been clean. But it wasn't. It was messy. And we decided not to take it. So we didn't take it. And he kept growing. So he grew to this building, which is where they are now. And then, quite a few years later, this big monster of a company, a monster meaning big, of a company, we actually love SAP, yeah. They came in and made an offer. Well, we went to New York for Ryan to meet and talk about it. And it was a much bigger offer than that first offer. And we still didn't feel right. And this picture is, we're literally in a taxi in New York, and he had just said no again to an insane number to say no to. But it just didn't feel right. And so a few months went by, and SAP came back and said, hey, we've got another number. And that was the point where it felt like, okay, that's what it is worth to us. That's what all this friction has been worth to us. And so SAP bought Qualtrics, which meant we immediately were in the public market under SAP. And it was great. Everything was going well. Until Ryan decided, I don't know, there's more potential to Qualtrics. And so we're back in the same position of, could we keep going? And I remember the moment when he said, what if we bought it back and took it public? And I was like, you're joking. Talk about friction. This is sheer friction. Like, nothing is just going in a smooth path. And we talked about it, and we came to an agreement that this is a brilliant idea. And if there's anyone in the world who could execute, it is Ryan Smith. And so he convinces SAP, hey, let's do this together, and we'll separate, and we'll take the company public. And so that's what happened here in this bottom picture. And it's really cool for us to think of that path, mostly because we're proud. We're proud. And it's still a mess. Lots of employees left after the sell because in their heads that meant everything was going to change. And lots of employees missed out on the IPO because they thought everything was going to change. And the ride is over. The mess, right? We have loved the mess, and we have pride because it's been super messy. And I have pride in that day in the taxi when we are literally looking at each other going, what did we just do? It feels like a lot of friction, but it feels right. And it's just led to some great moments for us, and hopefully moments that have led to impact, to good impact at Qualtrics and among the community. So it's a cool mess up here that you can see that we're proud of. And so then we have the Jazz. And we love basketball, you guys. We have always loved basketball. And Ryan came home one day and said, hey, there's this incredible opportunity to buy the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think we should do it. Financially, it makes so much sense. And it did. It made a ton of sense financially. And it was his dream. And it felt like an incredible opportunity. And I couldn't. I could not wrap my head around it. And we talked about it for a few weeks. And there was a little friction. because I understood that it was his dream on a platter, and he understood that. But he goes all in on everything he does, absolutely everything. He does not do anything partially. And so I knew that meant he'd have to travel even more. And also, we were massive jazz fans already. So we had already started Five for the Fight, which is a foundation that he started with a couple colleagues to raise money for cancer research. And Five for the Fight is incredible. We put it on the patch of the Jazz, and that's actually how we built such a good relationship with the Jazz. And that was all going to kind of go away if we went to the Timberwolves, which didn't feel great to me. My kids were so into the Jazz. We were so into the Jazz. It felt off-brand. It felt like going to the Timberwolves was off-brand. But at the same time, how often in your life do you have a good opportunity at an NBA team? Pretty much the average is never. So this was messy, and it caused some friction, but we can handle friction, right? And he was willing to listen to me. And I'll tell you one thing, I don't say no a lot. I save my no's. This was a no for me. And because of that, he listened, and I am lucky for that. But it doesn't mean there wasn't friction. It doesn't mean that everything wasn't gelling, and I knew it. I knew we were saying no to his dream. Fast forward, well, actually. So I kind of said, why don't you go make sure the Jazz is not an option? And we already had a great relationship. So he did. He went and reached out to Gail, and she was beautiful. She is so lovely and wonderful. And she said, good luck, son. Why don't you go with the Timberwolves? There's no future for you here. And so he walked away, and we decided we're going to be the best NBA sponsors of all time, and we are all in on being the best NBA sponsors. And that was February. And in July, Ryan gets a phone call saying, Gail wants to meet. So things kind of started falling into place for what we thought was a never an option. Like, we had written it off. And it was messy to get there, but man, do we have a lot of pride for what Gail is trusting us to do. We're proud. We're proud that she trusts us because she built something, well, she and Larry, built something incredible. And it's been messy, and it's going to really continue to be messy because guess what? We want a parade. We want you to all drive to Salt Lake to come to the parade when we win a championship. But I know that between now and then, it is going to be messy. I am very clear on that. Ryan is very clear on that. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be worth it, right? So embrace the mess. So I have a few things that for me and Ryan have been very helpful in fighting the mess. And the first one is people, is the relationships we build. They matter. People from our class at BYU have gone on to do great things. And I think people from this room and from this class will go on to do great things. Build relationships. Find people who inspire you or who empower you or make you want to be better or think harder or have more integrity. Find those people. We have some friends who we adore, who, when we go hang out, we all love to be together. Everyone kind of ignores their kids. We're laughing. It's so fun, but we're not our best selves. And then we have friends who we adore who bring out our best qualities and who inspire us and who we leave wanting to be better and more. And those are the people we want to hang out with. As we get older and we get more busy and our children get more busy, we have less time to hang out with friends, for sure. And so when we do, we always agree that we want to hang out with the ones who make us want to be better. And it's just important. So pay attention to who you're surrounding yourself with, yeah? We become those qualities. I also think that you have to build relationships with trust, and that those relationships will open doors for you. So I actually, over the last 15 years, because of the dance studio, I have built a beautiful relationship with the director of the theater ballet at BYU. And just last week, I hit a massive piece of friction, and one of my very advanced teachers, who teaches only my most advanced ballerinas, had to quit because of health reasons. And we're 3 weeks into the semester, and there was a night last week where I said to Ryan, I literally have a problem I can't solve, which does not happen to me often. And I felt super stuck. So I reached out to the theater ballet director at BYU and said, I had a stack of resumes, right? But I can't solve this position with just any ballet teacher. It has to be the best, someone who really loves to teach youth. And this director was able to help me land in a really good spot. And I'm so thankful for that relationship that I have built for 15 years, because it opened this door to a solution for a problem I truly felt I couldn't solve 7 days ago. I did not have a solution for it. Dwayne Wade. We love him, right? My husband had a golf relationship with him. And so Dwayne reached out to Ryan after we had purchased the Jazz. He reached out and said, hey, I'm looking at the Timberwolves. Well, we've been down that path. So Ryan said, hey, where are you right now? And he said, I'm in LA. And Ryan said, I'm coming right now. And he literally got on a plane that night and flew to LA to say, Dwayne, you're not going to Minnesota. You're coming to Utah. And there was some friction, because Dwayne's looking at his brand thinking, Utah and my brand don't totally jive. And Ryan said, we're going to fix that, because they actually do, and Utah sometimes gets a bad rap. But you need to come change the narrative about Utah. So Ryan had a relationship of trust already that opened up a massive door. And Dwayne is the greatest owner of all time. He has so much integrity. He is a good guy. And to have him as part of the ownership group, to have his voice as a player, to have his voice as a black player, to have his voice as someone who gets the industry, it's incredible. But that's because of the relationship Ryan had already built. It opened a really big door. And same with Gail. We had built this relationship of trust because of Fight for the Fight, and it opened doors for us. So the people in our lives matter, and you won't know it, but they'll open opportunities for you down the road. And I would just say, maybe keep those in mind as you move along. The next thing, so let's see, people. And then knowing what you stand for. There's an event called Bluebird Cafe that they do up at Sundance in the summer, Sundance Resort. And we went a few weeks ago, and there was a country songwriter who had a song that he wrote a long time ago, and it was recorded. And the tagline of the song was, you don't have to know what I'm against if you know what I'm for. And man, did we love that tagline. We loved it. We've talked about it. It sparked a lot of conversations in our house, because I like knowing what we're for. And when friction comes, you got to know what you're for. You need to know the absolutes. But guess what? The absolutes only come with friction. I know the things that Ryan and I will not waver on. And I know those things because we've either seen or experienced moments of them of those absolutes not being around. So we know they have to be, right? We have learned through friction what our absolutes are. So when things are messy and when there's friction, figure out what you're learning and what you won't give up next time. Or watch somebody else and decide, ooh, I can't give that up. And I don't even want to list to you what our absolutes are because everyone just has to learn and experience their own. But we're very clear on ours. We're very clear. As we were deciding if we wanted to purchase the Jazz and if that was a good fit for us and our family, we went back to our absolutes. Does it fit our absolutes? The things that we stand for. And when heavy friction comes, which it will, I know we've had it already and I know we'll have it more, it's really helpful to at least have an underlying base of what you stand for. So know what you stand for. The power of yet. So the people who are around you, knowing what you stand for, and the power of yet. We were not, Smash Dance Academy was not ready to be in that big building yet. And Qualtrics was not ready to be purchased yet. And the Jazz, we weren't ready to be NBA owners yet. And this idea that you are what you are and you can't move from there and what will come will happen, this fixed idea is not helpful. I have no business owning an NBA team. I'm the greatest fan there is, but I have no skills there yet, right? I am growing every day, massive amounts, and I want to grow. But this idea of yet and of redemption and that we are going to mess up, there's going to be friction, you're going to make the wrong choice because you're not ready for whatever that is yet. But that you can grow to that point and you can build and get to a place where you have a gem because the friction has created it. So I really like the idea of not being ready yet. And the last thing that helps us with the friction is to stay in learning mode. You have to be learning all the time. We have to learn from the messiness. We have to learn from other people's messiness. We love understanding how people think. And that's actually why Ryan got involved in the lecture series down at BYU, is because he wants to be able to be the one moderating the Q&A so that the students hear how people think. Because you're not going to learn anything from me about what I did because you're not buying the Utah Jazz anytime soon, right? But maybe you learn something about how other people think. And to always be in learning mode and always be trying to grow and learn from the mess. That's how we get through the friction. Okay, this is a nightmare. I'm in a mess. It is messy. What can I learn? And then you keep going, right? I would suggest to you what we try and do, and we don't always succeed, but we embrace the messiness. We welcome the messiness. It can be intimidating. You can want to see a clear path and take it because it feels easy. And sometimes maybe that's right. But sometimes that really hard path that doesn't even have a clear direction is the better way. We have put our passion into changing experiences. Qualtrics is about understanding people's experience so that companies can better their customer experience or their employee experience. When we started Five for the Fight, it was about changing the experience of cancer patients. With the Jazz, we have wanted to change the experience of Utah, of living in Utah, or of hearing about Utah, to change the experience of minorities in Utah, to change the experience of people who don't feel included in Utah. We want to be a part of that, and we want to help inspire that, but my goodness, it's messy. Changing those experiences is not easy, and they're lofty goals, and we're going to fail a million times, and we already have, but we know we can get there. There's going to be a lot of friction, but we can change the experience of Utah. We can. We just have to embrace the messiness. So we can't wait to see you at the parade. And, and we will still be standing when we get there, even though we will have gone through a heck of a lot more friction. So embrace the messiness. And that's our story. That's kind of where we're to. So I would love to open it up to questions, if there are any. And I'm happy to invite Ryan up to the stage because he's a genius. And if you have questions for either he or I, we'd love to have them. Yes. Come up. Ryan, come. Yes.
Is she good? Like, I could do that all day, babe.
All right.
So this might be for both of you, but what is your anchor, the thing that keeps you going? How did you decide to find that?
I'm going to go, and then we'll see if his answer is the same. But our faith is a massive anchor for us. Our belief system, which goes back to what do we stand for? We use our faith system in every big decision we make. The other thing is that we give each other honest feedback. We're very honest with each other, and it would be a massive problem if we weren't. So being able to anchor off of each other is really, really helpful. And so whether that's a spouse or maybe a business partner, I also have an assistant director at the studio who I really trust, and she's an anchor for me as well. So my answer to that would be our faith system and our really strong relationships that include honest feedback and that keep us on the path that we started out. Well, not the path maybe, because maybe we take a different one, but the end goal, right? That help us stay true to our end goals. What'd you say?
Yeah, I would probably, first of all, it's good to be up here. It was a fun drive.
I don't know if we can.
No, it's all right. You can hear me, right?
Okay, be loud. Well, you're on video too, so I think.
First of all, like,
Grab the mic.
that was a good 2-hour drive. Like, I had a little solo time. I needed it. I didn't even drive with you. It was great. I would have loved that, but it was good. So I think Ash
What
was.
he meant was it was great in spite of not driving.
Yeah.
That's what he meant.
But look, I think our faith system is real, and it's not. It's just if you don't have a North Star, whatever that is for you, it's going to be hard because humans are super confusing, and if you're getting your information from the people sitting next to you, you're probably not going to go down a good path. And I can go through every single experience of what every single human told me that we should have sold our company that first shot we had. Well, they were all wrong. 15 out of 15 that I talked to. Like, everyone was wrong. And then everyone said we should have bought the Timberwolves. Well, Ashley was the only one that was right because there was no scenario in the Miller's world where that was coming up. Been in the family for 35 years. There was no logical human being that would have thought that that was it. Then when we sold the company, everyone said we're out of here because it's over. And not one human would have thought that we would have been able to spin it out an IPO for 3 times the value of already the largest private software sale of all time and all of tech. So all I'm saying is if you don't have something else to guide you, it's going to be really hard. And I'll probably just leave it at that because, like, we're feel players. Like, we need to feel it. Like, we need to feel what we should do. And how many of you play sports? There's field players and there's really technical people. I'm a field player. Whether it's basketball, like I need to get in the game, or I'm a big golfer, Like I'm not too technical. I need to feel it. And a lot of our decisions are made on how we feel and what we feel is right and then going to make it happen. And I think that is really, really important as you go. And so whatever that is for you, whatever that rubric is for you, as you go through making some pretty monumental decisions that you've got in front of you, like whatever your process is, and it needs to get better over time, you've got to have something that can speak to you. And the hardest part right now, the hardest part in the world that we live in, is it's pretty tough with how much noise. We are in the noisiest part of the history of the world. The world has never been this noisy. Whether it's social media, whether it's everything that's speaking at you, whether it's actually talking about what you should be and how that picture is what everyone sees. And that's why I love this talk, because it actually was like a bunch of messes. No one tweets or shows that piece of it, right? And so it's really important that you figure out like how to feel. And it's hard. It's really hard right now. So hopefully that helps.
Question.
I want to know, you hear a lot of couples say that they can't do business with each other, and that does not seem like you guys. It seems like you guys do a lot of business.
Oh, I didn't see what happened. The face.
How you guys work that out, and I don't know.
Can I take this one?
Oh, wow, go for it, yeah.
This sucked.
I told you, I was honest, I said there was some friction.
This sucked. No one knows how bad that sucked. That is not about a dance studio. Because I'm doing this while she's doing that. See the difference in the picture there? That at the same time as that.
So we were in separate basements.
And I am leaving everything I've got out on the field, and I come home to that at the end of the day. That's not very cool. And my patience was like, so one of us can do this. We're both not doing it. And I used to hate it. I used to absolutely hate it. And it was probably one of the most contentious things in our marriage. Probably the only thing, right? Between 4 Christmases and that. That was it. That was it. Like, we're pretty straightforward. But then my world started to get busy. And when I was gone and I was traveling and I was working, Ash had that. And she was grinding. And she had an identity. And when it started to get crazy and we'd go out in public, it was always awesome that someone would be like, hey, Miss Ashley, hey, Miss Ashley, hey, Miss Ashley, instead of it being the Ryan show all the time. And so what turned out to be, or started out being something I despised, is probably one of the things I am so grateful for, because Ash has her own identity. She's a total boss. And when she needs to step into this role, she's ready. And it wouldn't have happened without that.
Without the mess.
It's kind of deep, huh?
And
I hope, yeah, go
and
ahead.
I would say, and this is not applicable to everyone, but for us, yeah, having our own strengths and figuring out our own strengths through the friction, right? And now we can come together on the jazz and like pride's out of the way, because I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm not good at, and I'm hopeful that some of those not good at things will move over. And he's the same. So, but in all that beginning part, we kind of the friction needed to refine us. We still have a long way to go, but I would argue that now that we've both been entrepreneurs separately, that now we can go at it together, and it's not about pride. It's not about who carries the nameplate. It's just about bringing our strengths to the table.
Yeah, when she said, like the other night, she had a problem she couldn't solve, like, I wasn't laughing. I was just like, damn, like, all right, like, that's a gnarly one. Like, I can't help you at all, but here are the problems we've been through on this side of the house. And I can't explain how amazing it is that she's got her own world, and how empowering that is, I think, for my little girls to see. And look, neither one of us have to work. We're good. It's because she wants to make an impact. And it's a lot of friction that we probably don't need in our lives, but actually it's what we're going to be proud of. And my kids need to see us work. And I love that they can see mom struggling and grinding and like going. And that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
Any more? Yeah.
We love to leave them in Provo and come up here. That's like our typical, what is it, Wednesday night?
No.
Like,
That's a good question. We for sure have sacred moments set aside. I mean, the whole reason we are becoming a boating family, we want to become boaters, is because it's an enclosed space where no one can leave, and everyone's happy. And so boating, skiing, we are massive skiers, and we sacrifice a lot on Saturdays. Our children sacrifice some pretty cool opportunities because we ski on Saturdays. That's what we do. So we have a few things like that, and Sundays are pretty sacred to us. That tends to have flexibility, and there's a little friction sometimes, but we are very intentional about creating space and making sure that our family is very important. Have there been very messy times Wednesday night when we're both up in Logan? Yeah, for sure. And so there's some sacrifice, and it takes very intentional parenting, which we fail at all the time, but we continue to be intentional. We are constantly, I mean, I am constantly studying and researching and trying to grow as a parent. And it's just important that we keep something sacred. And really, truthfully, that has become skiing and boating, like those two. And travel, I would say, when part of us leaving at Christmas is that we travel and we experience things with our children, and that it's just our nucleus. So travel, boating, skiing, and then being intentional about making sure it stays the most important. Yeah. Do you have a different answer?
We watch a lot of basketball. Dang, do we watch a lot of basketball?
Yeah. And we go to a lot of basketball games but it unifies us, right? Cheering for one team unifies anybody. It's one thing I love about basketball is it unifies.
I think the hard part for us is, like, our kids aren't growing up the way we did. How do you artificially create the same friction we had? And typically it takes and skips generations or whatever. And so Ash does a good job at just creating hard workers. Ash is like the hardest worker I know. Like, she literally, like, she's up before me and she is asleep after me every single night. And I wake up at like 6 o'clock at 5:30 every morning. So think about that. I don't know what it is, but she has, like, a different schedule on that, and our kids see that. And I think that's one saving grace that we have, like, hopefully, to do that. And then Sundays are the day that shut off. I don't care what's going on in tech. Like, I have some crazy stories. Like, I volunteer on Sundays down at BYU and in a group, and like, SAP wanted to buy our company on Sunday morning. And I had to decide by 12:30 whether we were selling it or not. Well, my world didn't end until 12. And we had to make a decision. So everyone's like, Saturday night, and by the way, we had to announce it at 2, and between 12 and 2, I had to let the whole company know that we were going to either IPO on Wednesday or sell the company, because we were 3 days before IPO. And so we pretty much have like 4 hours. And it was like, well, what are you doing? It's like, I'm just going to do what I normally do on Sunday. I'm going down to BYU, go do our stuff. And it was like beautiful. While I was there, I was like, yeah, we're good. Like, I feel good. I feel super relaxed. I feel super calm. Walked in, made a decision, pulled all the employees together. They thought they were deciding on who's going to ring the bell in New York City. And we're like, hey, J/K, we're selling. All right, it's going to come out in an hour. So anyways, like, it's non-negotiable. And guess what? The CEO of a $160 billion company had to sit in front of our office and wait for me. That's perfectly okay. And that's just how you roll.
Any more questions? Oh, yep.
What would you say you guys want your legacy to be by the time Qualtrics is over, Jazz are over? What legacy do you want to leave?
I mean, I would say that's a moving target. That's part of the friction path. And it's awesome that that's a moving target. Right now, we want to change the narrative about Utah. That's 100% our goal right now. And we want to make Utah more inclusive, and we want to help make the experience living here and the experience of hearing about Utah both better.
Who was the greatest business person? And you can clap. That's good. All right. Who was the greatest business person in the 1700s?
Answer it yourself.
1800s? No one cares. So it doesn't matter what we do. No one's going to remember us. No matter how great we are. If you can't name the greatest business person in the entire century of 1700 or 1800 or 1900, like, that's
It's not about being remembered.
No, but like everyone focuses on legacy. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's going to remember you. Like, we don't remember anyone 100 years ago. So, like, our legacy is that, first of all, our children like us, right? In my world, in tech, that is not a given. Like, most of my peers have lost that battle, right? Because they've scaled one aspect of their life and everything else is gone. And, you know, that's really important to us. I think people showing up at your funeral would be a good thing. Like, they like you enough to show up there. And really the impact you can make, and I think it goes to what Ash said, it's like it's bigger than that. This is what we'll remember, and so this is why Ash is like, I'm going to come up and speak. Because if there's any impact that we can make outside of that's way bigger than getting a check or anything else. And so I've always found that if you're focused on legacy, it's never it. Like, you know, your parents tried to raise you with creating all these experiences that you're going to have. But when you and your siblings get together, you talk about none of them. You talk about, like, when you were stuck in the airport or when the car broke down. It's all this stuff that happened accidentally. And so if you're focused on legacy, it's kind of hard. And I know that's weird. That's just my take on it. Like, I don't know how to go and manufacture a legacy. That's how I think about it. Just go do your best and try your hardest. And that's it. All right, I'm done.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me, and embrace the mess, is all I'd say.
Okay, we want to say thank you to Ashley and Ryan for coming, and so we got her all of these gifts. Yeah, we can.
Gosh.
says Huntsman School of Business.
I'm taking it to the next BYU game.
Thank you so much for coming. And I love that Ryan said that she's the hardest worker he knows when he goes golfing with Dwayne Wade. Like, that's a huge compliment. So we're so lucky that we got to hear from her today and all of the cool things that she shared. Just a reminder, just real quick, to be here next week at 5 o'clock because we will be having stacked pancakes. So if you can make it, be here at 5. And thank you, everyone, for coming. There's Aggie ice cream out in the hall, so go grab some.